not about to take a no from the provincial government.
Education workers are ready to fight.
The pay for education workers such as secretaries, custodians, and educational assistants is only about $39,000 a year on average. Some are paid as low as a minimum wage. Apart from wages, they're also concerned about other issues such as job security. A bill freezing their pay to no more than 1% increases is about to expire on August 31st. So they're gearing up to fight for improvements.
You know, this is a group of workers who were frontline. They were back in the schools during the pandemic right away. They did not have the same opportunities other workers had. And they are the lowest paid in the education system.
We're here for the kids. We always want the best for the kids, but we need the tools to be there for the kids.
Inflation has eaten away even more at the workers' pay. The president says they don't want to strike, but are ready.
We have had to fight for every single thing that we have ever won. And we're going to, continue to fight because we know that we are the last line of defense for parents and students as well, and we take that privilege very seriously.
A labor studies professor expects this will be the first in a long line of negotiations with provincial workers that will likely see strikes over the next 4 years.
It'll be a first test for the Ford government. During the election, they made a big deal out of saying that they were going to work for workers, and now you have educational workers whose pay has been capped or frozen for the better part of a decade, looking for significant wage increases and more supports in the schools. And so I think there is going to be a very interesting round of bargaining. That the Ford government is not known for its investment in education. And so I do think that there will be a fight at the bargaining table.
Every day, more and more people are lining up behind our vision, our plan to build Ontario. Labor unions and blue-collar workers.
Now the province's workforce will put that to the test. CBC has reached out to the Ministry of Education for a response, but we have not yet heard back. Bargaining could begin by the end of the month. The education workers will be in a legal strike position at the end of August. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
The long-awaited inquest into the death of a woman who died while she was an inmate at the Windsor jail is set for later this month. And just a warning that the story deals with suicide. Delilah Blair died in hospital in May of 2017. She was found unresponsive in her cell and then taken to hospital. She was 30 years old. At the time, her family identified her as having died by suicide. Loved ones have been searching for answers ever since. The inquest was supposed to take place in 2020, but was delayed because of the pandemic. It is now scheduled to start Monday, June 20th, and is expected to last 9 days and involve about 17 witnesses. It is 1 year to the day since the deadly attack in London, Ontario, that police say was hate-motivated. 4 members of the Afzal family, spanning 3 generations, were killed after being struck by a truck while out for an evening walk. Many say it's not enough to just mark the anniversary of their tragic deaths. They want to see concrete steps to address Islamophobia. Talia Ricci reports.
Throughout this year of grieving, a close friend of Salman Afzal describes fleeting thoughts of being able to see him again.
We still can't believe it that has happened, and Salman is not with us anymore. We just can't believe it. We think like maybe during the pandemic we didn't see each other, so it's the same situation. We are not just seeing each other. He'll be around.
1 year ago today, Salman, his wife Madiha, their daughter Yumna, and Salman's mother Talat were run down while out for a walk. The couple's 9-year-old son was seriously hurt but survived. Imran Saeed says Salman was more like family to him.
We used to meet each other every evening in the mosque. So that's not there anymore. And honestly, I'll be very honest, after that I have switched the mosque. I go to a different mosque now because it doesn't look the same.
Police say the family was targeted because of their Muslim faith. This week there have been marches, vigils, and events like this one which dedicated a community garden to the Afzals. Many of these events were planned by youth in the community.
I want to see our voices actually being heard rather than people saying, oh, we are going to do this, we're going to do this to stop it, but nothing actually being done.
On Sunday, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau met with the organizers and recognized that more needs to be done. Today, the government made this announcement.
The call for applications. The application process is open for anyone interested to fulfill the role to become Canada's special representative to combat Islamophobia.
Those who knew the Afzals say coming together at events like this offers some peace, but their lives remain forever changed.
This family was a gem. I am sure everybody will remember them. If I would say not so many people, but the close family friends and other people in the city, they will remember them always.
There are also anti-Islamophobia workshops being hosted in the community this week, and local libraries are highlighting Muslim authors. But many hope the family's legacy and the calls for change continue well beyond this anniversary. Talia Ricci, CBC News, London, Ontario.
The painful anniversary is also being marked here in Windsor. Jacob Barker spoke with two locals who are taking a walk as a step against Islamophobia.
So I think it's very important to remember it, especially on the anniversary, but also throughout the year, and remind ourselves that this is a reality. This is part of Canadian society, unfortunately, and we need to bring awareness to it so that we can act on it and make future actions that will prevent it from happening ever again.
Masoudi is organizing the walk this evening on behalf of Islamic Relief. She says it's changed the way she acts in public.
It's definitely made me way more sad and way more scared, because the small microaggressions and the small bits of Islamophobia you face, you're like, oh, it's not a big deal. And then you realize it can amount to something that will take somebody's life or an entire family's lives.
Masoudi says Islamophobia is prevalent in Canadian society.
It's just a bit more hidden, so I feel like that's actually more insidious because it's like in the closet kind of, so you don't realize it's happening until it's already happened, or when something big like this happens and you're like, oh, that's actually a really big deal, all the little things that have been happening to me.
I always had the sense anytime a car went by or anytime, so I was, constantly checking my shoulder.
Today, the Islamic community here in Windsor is coming together to mark the tragedy, to send their love to the family and the community just up the 401.
We want to extend our condolences to the family and those that have lost loved ones, especially. I recently had a very sick family member myself, and we all know that, when you lose family or you lose loved ones, it's very, very difficult. And this is a difficult time for us, but we're also happy to come together as a community and show solidarity.
That walk is set to begin here on the Windsor waterfront in just under an hour, and organizers hope that it's not just Islamic members of the community who turn out. They're also hoping for a strong showing from non-Muslims as a show of solidarity from the entire community. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Windsor.
They live here, they pay taxes, but they're not allowed to vote. Every year, Canada admits hundreds of thousands of new permanent residents. A Brampton woman who received a voter ID card by mistake is now asking why the rules prevent her from participating in choosing the government that impacts her whole life. Farah Morelli has more.
I know that I couldn't vote as a PR, but then when I got it, I was kind of confused.
That was Manit Nagra's reaction after she received a voter information card for last week's Ontario provincial election. As a permanent resident, she can't legally vote, but after she got it, she wondered if the rules had changed.
I got kind of excited. I was like, I can vote. And then I searched it up. Turns out I can't vote.
Nagra was sent the card erroneously, but she's now questioning why people like her can't vote here. She's lived in Canada most of her life and is impacted by government policies and pays taxes.
These aren't tourists. They're not just stopping through for fun. These are people who live here. Their kids go to school here. Absolutely, every single one of them should have the right to vote.
So who makes the rules when it comes to voting? Turns out it's the province. They determine who can vote in municipal and provincial elections. Right now, only Canadian citizens 18 and up can cast a ballot, which mirrors Ottawa's federal voting laws. But at least one province is looking to change the rules. New Brunswick is poised to pass legislation that would allow permanent residents to vote in its 2026 municipal election.
There are over 50 countries in the world now that extend voting rights in a country's election to people living in that country who are not yet citizens of that country. So it's not like this is some, really radical or wild proposition. It's actually done in a whole number of countries.
We asked the province if it would consider allowing permanent residents to vote, but didn't get a response in time.
I consider myself Canadian, even though I'm not technically Canadian. I think I should be able to vote.
As for Nagra, she says she believes voter turnout would be higher if people like her could cast a ballot.
If they let permanent residents vote, I guess it would encourage a whole new set of people to vote.
Farah Morali, CBC News, Toronto.
It was a nail-biter right to the very end. Canada won silver at the Wheelchair Rugby Canada Cup final in BC, with Japan taking gold. The Canadian team lost by just 1 point in overtime. 2 members of the team hail from Windsor. I spoke with one of them right before he caught his flight to come back home.
I'm feeling, over the moon. Obviously, we always aim for gold, but it was a 1 point game in overtime. I couldn't have been more happy with how it turned out. I'm super proud of us and everything we accomplished. I mean, every loss hurts, but ones that are that close that you can feel the win, obviously they sting a little more. But the energy and the atmosphere of the team is definitely positive. We're very, very happy with where we are and how far we've come since even just the last Canada Cup 4 years ago. So our future is bright. We look great. We're playing great, and Japan is a great team. They're number 2 in the world, and we took them to overtime. So.
And you're one of 2 players from Windsor. So how does it feel to be representing our city on the national stage?
It feels awesome. I've always grown up with sports, and we have a great history of disabled athletes to come out of Windsor. And I've been playing disabled sports for 16 years now. So to try and emulate those before me who helped me and introduced me to the sport is a great feeling.
Up next, Debly is taking a short break and then preparing for a Quad Nations tournament in Alabama. Many of us are familiar with free little neighborhood libraries on residential streets, but one Windsor woman wanted to be a little bit more creative. Instead of books, there are small pieces of art inside that people can make and take. It opened over the weekend, just steps away from Art in the Park. The CBC's Jason Vio has more.
This is our free little art gallery in Windsor. It's in a couple other cities. I've seen news reports about them, and I wanted to start one in Windsor. So you can take without leaving, you can leave without taking, or you can do both. I work in healthcare, and I know that expressing through art is a really helpful way to work yourself through things. It is the process, not the product, and the process is usually community sharing too, and so that's what I really love about this. It's got all kinds of pieces that I love. Me and my family started this because we wanted to help local artists. So the artists would put their stuff in there and they would share it, but also for anybody. I'm not an artist, but I have so much fun making little things and putting them in there.
I think especially recently there's been fewer and fewer ways for local artists to sort of express themselves and sort of be in a visible public space. A place where you can just sort of make your claim known with one little piece. Maybe you have a place to find you on the back if someone's interested in more of your work. It's a great avenue for people to appreciate art and people to get their art out there. This is a small painting done in acrylic gouache. I've called it Skog too because I've done a few of them. It's a series of brown teddy bears. They're these, they're purchasable at IKEA. They're called Junkelskogs. They're these giant brown bears that have sort of taken like the internet by storm recently. And they're super cute. They've just got like a really nice shape to them. And painting's a thing I don't get to do very often, so I thought I'd paint something I really like.
And you don't need to be a professional artist to put something into that little art gallery. So I'm going to paint something on here and see how it goes. There we go. All finished. And when you're done, you come on over to 1162 Devonshire Road, where you'll find Windsor's free little art gallery. You open it up, put your piece of art inside, close it, and then the next time someone's walking by, your piece of art may catch their eye, and then they just take it. Jason Vio, CBC News, Windsor.
Jason Vio, a man of many talents. And speaking of art, after a pandemic pause, Art in the Park returned over the weekend. And some say the festival was better than it's ever been. Our Jacob Barker was there checking out the crowds and the creations.
It's amazing. Everybody yesterday was so incredibly happy to be here. It was the best I've ever seen it.
Has it been tough without having these kind of outlets?
It has. For me, I used to have a shop down in the neighborhood, and I closed my shop right before COVID, planning to just do shows, and then the shows disappeared. So I was transitioning to doing this full time, and this is my first show back, actually.
And how's it gone? Like, are you making sales? Are people coming in? Are they interested?
People are having a great time, and they're buying. Everybody's happy. Everybody feels great. It's hugs all around. Money's flying.
I've gotten to meet a lot of great people. We've had lots of chats. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Are you making sales?
Yes, which is great hearing. It's great seeing everyone who's interested in art and chatting with them. And then, yeah, I think seeing me doing some painting too really makes a connection with the art. So yeah, no, we've had some good sales too.
There's a ton of people. I think a lot of people just want to get out, especially after COVID and stuff. And there's a lot of people that are proud to be from Windsor, Essex, and that shows just the amount of people that are buying our stuff. This is probably our first event in 2+ years, right, since COVID. So for a small business, we do it on the side. It's been very important for us to get these events going again. It's been huge for us. It's been a great weekend for us.
You know, this 2-year hiatus or 2.5, it's been a long time. So it's nice to see people still continued with their business, and now they can show their wares. Right?
I got a nice little pot from my mom. It's just a cute little planter's pot that this lady handmade and painted, and it was really cute.
It's nice to see all the creative pieces, being shown out here, and just being able to support all these locals. So yeah.
What's it been like not having it for the last couple of years?
Not good. This brings the community together, and it's nice to have these type of things, especially for Windsor. So yeah.
Love seeing that, our community coming back to life. A live look outside there. We are hearing that it's starting to rain in some parts of the region. It might be raining where you are right now, and we are expecting a lot of rain in the next several hours, up to 50 millimeters. Dahlia Ashley will be here after the break with a look at our weather. Stay with us. Dahlia Ashtree is here now for a look at our weather forecast. Dahlia, it is looking gray and wet outside.
It sure is, Katerina. Did you bring an umbrella because you're going to need it?
I should have brought one, but I, for some reason, never travel with an umbrella.
Well,
it's very irresponsible.
Well, today's the day that you're going to start bringing an umbrella because you're going to need it this week, because the normal high right now is 27 degrees. It's above that normal average high, which is 25 degrees. The normal low this time of year is 14. You're sitting a little bit below that, 13 degrees. The current temperature in Windsor today is 21 degrees, a little bit on the warmer side compared to other areas like Sarnia or Chatham-Kent. As you can see, it's even a little warmer than Toronto. And if you take a look at the humidity, it is making it feel a little bit more like summer. It's probably really humid out there with that 28-degree feeling. So, I mean, Katerina and I were talking about earlier, beautiful curls. You might want to keep it that way for the next few days and not straighten your hair like I did. And you're going to see a little bit of that rain starting to peek through in Windsor, coming from that west side, because there is that cold front that's starting to bring that rain into the area. And there is about an accumulation of about 30 millimeters of rain that you will expect in the area of Windsor. And as you can see, that rain does continue, and it will become heavier throughout the evening because there is a risk of a thunderstorm, and that does increase, and it starts to go away by Tuesday, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Wednesday, clear skies. You might get a little bit of rain because you do see a little bit of those clouds peeking through. So 17 across the board with that risk of thunderstorm this evening. So you can expect that across the area from Windsor to Leamington to Chatham-Kent. And the next few days, 22 degrees tomorrow, low of 12 degrees. You do have that risk of the thunderstorm that's going to carry through until Wednesday. 21 degrees, 13 degrees as a low. Thursday, it does get a little warmer, 26 degrees with a 30% chance of rain, 14 degrees by the evening. You get a little bit of a break on Friday, so you can put the umbrellas away, but don't put it away for too long because Saturday, there's 23 degrees and that 30% chance of rain.
Thanks so much for that, Dahlia, and I will make sure that I pack that umbrella. Just throw it in the car tonight and make sure it's there for tomorrow.
Keep it handy.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks, Katerina.
When we come back, we're going to tell you about a seed library in Edmonton. Stay with us. Welcome back. A library in Edmonton is offering a program they hope takes root with patrons and cultivates an interest in planting, growing, and harvesting. No books required. Here's a look.
Seed libraries are springing up all across the world, and this was an idea that was brought to us by a couple of community groups that were really interested in starting up a seed library in Edmonton, and it was a really nice pairing with the public library. And certainly there's been a lot of demand for DIY activities and gardening. With the pandemic, everyone's been wanting to get their hands dirty, and also with the rising cost of food, being able to access good healthy food has been a bit of a barrier for some people. The seed library works in basically 3 steps: borrow, grow, share. So the first step is borrowing. So you'd select the stuff that you would like and take home, and then you move on to stage 2, which is growing it. So you grow it, you eat it, you enjoy it, you tell your friends about it, and then we get to stage 3, which is share. So we're really hoping people will start to learn how to do a bit of seed saving and collecting to be able to share with their friends and share back with the library so that we can keep this collection full. We've been absolutely astonished by the response to the launch of this. We thought the seeds would trickle out, and they have just flooded out.
Lawn maintenance comes with plenty of free food at a park in Regina.
Goats are really good at this because sheep tend to eat grass first, while goats like to nibble on weeds.
60 goats are on the job at the Goose Island Overlook. The hungry visitors will play an important role in protecting the park's ecosystem. On average, the goats eat about 1/4 of a hectare of grass and weeds each day. The goats will be on the hill for the next several days and will return again for another 10 days later in the summer. You might say that's an unbelievable story. That's from my producer, Sonia Varma. She requested that. That is it for CBC Windsor News. For news anytime, go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.